region. It looks like we've got Miss Rylee Robinson on the phone, sports anchor and sports reporter down, I said it again, up there at NewsChannel 10. Miss Rylee, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are y'all?
We are doing so good. I'm so glad we got to finally get you on here. We hear you're doing great work up in the Panhandle region. But before we get into the nitty-gritty football talk, we always like to ask our guests, how did you get to where you are now? Because from what I read, you're not from around here or in Texas in general.
You're not from around these parts, are you? She just hit you with that.
I hit you with the country in me talking.
I just started here a couple weeks ago. I'm originally from Georgia. I graduated from Kennesaw State in Atlanta. And I always wanted to get into sports broadcasting, and I thought there was no better way to start my career off than in a place in an area like the Panhandle, where you're surrounded with high school football, such enthusiastic fans, such enthusiastic people to work with. They're so passionate about all things sports here. So I thought this would be a great starting point for me, and I've always wanted to move to Texas. So this was just a great opportunity for me.
And speaking to that a little bit, you're used to Georgia high school football over there. Of course, they consistently put out great college Division I athletes every single year. But moving to Texas, and now you've only been in this position for a couple of months now. But what was your reaction to seeing how different, if I must say, Texas high school football is compared to anywhere else in the country?
So I always have thought that Texas is just like one notch up above Georgia. Moving here, I was right. Georgia, like you said, has put out great, phenomenal athletes over the years, especially with football. And I think the biggest differences in just what I've seen personally so far is these stadiums and the environment of it. I've never seen such huge high school football stadiums. In Georgia, it was not like that at all. Every school had separate ones. The ISDs did not put together a big stadium for every single team there. So I think that's the biggest thing, first of all. And then just the crowds and the environment. And I've just been so pleased with what I've seen so far and how people take Friday Night Lights as a national holiday here in Texas. And that's kind of how it was in Georgia as well. So it's just been great to see the environment that they put out at these games and just the stadiums and what they put into high school football.
Absolutely. And in some of these small towns, they even shut down every single Friday night just for that one football game, which is, that's why we love doing this. We love covering high school football, Texas high school football. Well, there are a lot of six-man football programs up in the Panhandle. There are 26 small school teams, 1A to 2A. What is your opinion on six-man football? I'm always curious because there's a lot up there.
Yeah, so I did not go to my first six-man game until last week. I went to Miami and Wildorado, and when I went out there, they sent me out there to film and do a report, and I was not expecting six-man. I had no idea. And so I walk onto the field or, the sideline, and I am looking through my camera about to film, and I was counting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's only 12 players out there in all. And so I think it's just a great thing. I mean, I understand some of these schools don't have the capacity and population to have an 11-man team. And it was just interesting to see the different rules and the different ways they play. And I even got to interview the Miami football coach the next day, and he went from coaching 11-man to six-man, and he talked a lot about the big differences. I think the biggest, craziest difference to me was an extra point, like a field goal, was worth 2 because it's technically harder because you have to use more players compared to a 2-point conversion in regular 11-man is only worth 1 because it's technically easier in six-man. So I think that was the weirdest difference to me. But yeah, I've been impressed with it so far. I got to go out to my first game last week, and I'm super excited to just keep covering it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's certainly different. I remember seeing my first six-man game, and I was like, man, I got to learn the different rules because I didn't realize that, less men on the field. Yeah, you're going to have different rules. Yeah, you're going to have different yard lines, but it's great football nonetheless. Let's go ahead and talk teams. Now, there is a plethora of good teams in the Panhandle region, really going across all classifications from 5A all the way down to, of course, six-man football. Which of those teams I guess you could take the entire region, do you think look really good already?
I believe, and I've told everyone this the past couple of weeks, Bushland High School is my favorite team to watch. I've already been to a couple of their games covering it, and their quarterback, Derek Clements, is amazing. He is a dual threat athlete. Like, he is one of my favorite athletes just to watch in general up here in the Panhandle. So I definitely think Bushland, they beat Canadian the other week, which is another great football program. They've been outscoring their opponents by big margins the past couple of weeks. And I'm just super excited to see what they do going into the rest of the season.
We are talking with Rylee Robinson, sports anchor and sports reporter up there at KFDA News Channel 10 in the Panhandle area here on Women Talking Football. And Rylee, as you already know, there's really no shortage of talent up in that region. So who, like you just mentioned, you did already mention Bushland's quarterback, but who else has really caught your eye this season?
There's been a few players to catch my eye. Still working on a lot of names here, but definitely Bushland's quarterback, Derek Clements. He was just an amazing athlete. Just his physicality and everything would definitely be one of my favorites there. And then I'm trying to think, I believe Canyon High School has a great running back there. Mm-hmm. It is number 7. Just 1 second. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Like I'm saying, that there's so much talent in that area, you got to just memorize them by numbers, because there's just so much of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just 1 second. I'm trying to see. I've just through a camera lens. I'm, like you said, Samuel Johnson. That's who it is. He's a junior there at Canyon. And last week they played West Plains at Happy State Bank, which is another one of those phenomenal facilities I was telling you guys about earlier. And he knew how to run that ball. I mean, mm-hmm. he was physical on the field. He wasn't the tallest out there, but he was breaking tackles left and right out there. And so he's definitely one of my other favorite players to watch so far.
Mm-hmm. Want to ask, and it's sticking on that same thing. You talked about Canyon. That entire district, 3-4A Division 1, is just outstanding. We have Dumas as our number 10 ranked team, but Canyon Randall, Hereford, Pampa. How much does the Panhandle rally around that unbelievable district in 4A Division 1?
I've seen it a lot because I've been to Happy State Bank, which is Canyon ISD's field, the past 4 weeks that I've been here. And I've seen multiple games with Randall, Canyon, and now West Plains, which is their new team for Canyon ISD. And the crowds there have been enormous. I've been videoing a lot of the crowd, the student section, the cheerleaders. Everyone there just rallies behind them. And it's really cool to see, like we were talking about earlier, how enthusiastic and how supportive everyone is about those teams. And, yeah, the Division 4A, like you said, they are great ball clubs out here at the Panhandle, and I'm just super excited. I'm actually going to the Caprock Canyon game, and I'm super excited to see that play out tonight.
And one of our favorite questions to ask here on Women Talking Football are, what are some of those good storylines that you have been able to follow that you want to share to people interested in really not only the Panhandle, but just in Texas high school football as well?
So I definitely, when it comes to that, I'm a big story person. I am very passionate about not just getting to what they're doing on the field, but off the field as well. And Amarillo High has Cohen Berry, that he's injured right now, but he's still a great college prospect. And I've really been wanting to do a story over him. He's had surgery last week, so I'm giving him a little time to recover before I do reach out. But just the aspect of wanting to cover his story. Yes, he might not be able to play because he is hurt, but he still has the potential to be great past high school. So I definitely want to just do that, not just with high school football, but with every sport here in the Panhandle region.
Absolutely. And to round it all out, now, I've only driven through the Panhandle. I've never really stayed there. I've never eaten there. So if we are up in the Panhandle region covering a game, where should we go eat? And I know that you haven't been there for very long either, so maybe where have you been so far that you have liked?
And
that
you're not
you
allowed to
suggest?
say the big steak. Don't give me the big steak.
Oh, no,
deal that they
absolutely
like to
not.
do over there.
So coming from Georgia, we had brisket over there, but my dad always told me that Texas brisket
Yes, ma'am.
was the absolute best. It does not compare to the ones you get at Buc-ee's or anywhere in Georgia. So Tyler's has really impressed me. It's a barbecue place here in Amarillo. And we went there, I believe it was like the second day that I moved here from Georgia, and my dad was still with me. And that was some of the best brisket I've ever had. So I definitely highly have to recommend Tyler's.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'll have to check that out because I'm a brisket fan myself, and I don't want to go eat at the big steak place.
No.
So.
I've eaten there. I mean, like, I feel like you have to eat there.
Yes.
Right.
You have to do it once.
Especially if
Yes.
you're a Panhandle resident, like, you have to eat there at least once.
Yes,
but yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, she is Miss Rylee Robinson, sports anchor and reporter up there at KFDA News Channel 10. We appreciate you coming on, Rylee, and best of luck your first season covering Texas high school football.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
There she goes, Miss Rylee Robinson of KFDA News Channel 10. You can follow her on Facebook at Rylee Robinson. That's Ryllee Robinson, KFDA, to keep up with all of your Panhandle sports needs. I don't think she's got a Twitter. I just saw that she's really active on her sports Facebook, so make sure to give her a follow.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.